Hey, this is Victor from the Victory Training Podcast, and today we have Justin with us. He's been a member with the gym for a while, and today we're going to learn a little bit more about him. Justin, sir, thank you for being here.
Hello, thanks for having me. Pleasure
Yes,
to be
sir.
here.
Yes, sir. I think maybe it's appropriate just to start with, what do you do here at this gym?
At this gym?
Yes.
I typically like going in the garage blue off the that's my station.
Remember that?
Yeah, that's my station. I don't know why I like it the most. I just like it the most. And I come in here 3 to 4 times a week, and I do my various different sets that I have planned out for myself. I've got my tried and true stuff, and I just come in and knock it out, go home and enjoy myself.
Nice, man.
Yeah.
So, also for clarification, Justin works out on his own. He doesn't work out with a coach, just comes in, rents his space, and does his own thing.
Yes.
Do you write your workouts down?
Oh no, I probably should.
Okay.
I have some friends that have written out some workouts for me, and I basically just stole stuff I liked from what they helped me out with, and now I just
make a plan in your head, kind of.
Yeah, I basically do the same thing every single time, and then what I try and do is after a month or two of that, try and throw in a couple of sessions something different in each workout, just to get the muscles doing a different movement than they're used to. Mm-hmm. But I did a lot of research on like the best movements for each category. So I do, pretty standard stuff like chest and bicep day, tricep and shoulder day, mm-hmm. back and bicep day, and then leg day. And I did research for what all the best things. So I do all the compound movements, the military press, bench, squat. I don't deadlift though. And then, then I just researched, and then one of the reasons why I really love your gym is because I prefer free weights. Mm-hmm. So I really enjoy free weight movements. I just think it's better. It's more natural than like working with machines. So so I have my routine, and then sometimes I just throw in something just to challenge my body and doing some other movement it's not used to doing.
Yeah, just kind of switching it up a little bit when you need to.
Yeah.
I think that when P90X came out,
sure, yeah.
And there was I never did it myself, but the kind of the idea was there was a bunch of different exercises, right? Like the guy was doing all these different ones and stuff like that. I think it created this kind of false narrative that you have to have a different exercise every single time in order for it to be effective,
Right.
And I tell you, no group of people suffered more from that than trainers. We're making up new movements. We're trying to do everything. You're seeing someone 3 times a week for an hour each time, and it's for months or for years, and you feel like you got to switch it every single time.
Right.
But I think, speaking for most trainers, they in their hearts they knew we don't need to be switching it up like this, crazy. It can be, and you look at just professional athletes or anything like that, man. The way anybody gets good at anything is repetition with the same thing over and over and over again.
Yep.
That's how you get better at it.
Yeah. With you can't do anything better than the compound movements. Those are the best. They work. Those are my favorites because I can feel so much of various different muscular groups. And then after I do a compound movement, I do 2 or 3 other movements I focus on. So my chest day, I have the bench press, obviously, and then I have 3 other movements that focus on one particular area of the chest. So now I've gotten a full workout in of every muscle group in this area. Same thing with back, same thing with shoulders. I'm doing and triceps. I'm doing movements, so they're all complementary. And I spend a lot of time researching that, and I know every time I come in here, I'm working out that area to its fullest. Yeah. And I can do it in an hour basically. Mm-hmm. And then I'm at home cooking dinner, making my protein shake, and I feel good.
Yeah, sometimes I wish I had because I actually don't work out in this gym because I can't. Because the only time of day that I could work out, everything's booked in here. Mm-hmm. And when I say I can work out, I mean mentally like able to do it consistently according to my schedule. So I have to go to another gym to work out, and I'm like, man, I wish I had that hard stop, that 1 hour hard stop, so I would have that pressure and that accountability, like I have to keep it moving right away.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like I think that like it's just so easy to take longer rests than you want to, or or just whatever, be on your phone.
I probably shouldn't admit this, but sometimes I get in here late.
Yeah,
like 10 minutes. You probably caught me a few times. So, I guess that's just a mental thing for me. Like, oh, I want to get in there 10 minutes later.
Yeah.
There's less time to work out. But funnily enough, I prefer doing like more of a HIIT style strategy where I forget the term, but where you're doing the movements much quicker, kind of like what's this, superset or something?
Supersets?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I go from one
like
movement to the next
training.
movement. Yeah. So I'm going, and then I take my minute or 2 minutes. So I do everything kind of quick.
Back to back.
Yeah. And then so I like to do that, and then that's how I also know I can get it done within that time period. And I've most of the time I'm leaving here, I'm feeling pretty good. Got a good sweat. Yeah, I felt pretty good about it. So
no, it's really good for strength endurance.
Yeah.
Doing stuff like that, and honestly, like that's like probably the most kind of like effective for like anyone's doing like just like day to day, like your typical day to day like lifestyle. That's what you're looking for. You want to have that muscle endurance. You want to make sure you're taking care of your heart. The joke is the best type of cardio is just lifting weights faster.
Right. Yeah.
Right, instead of being on the treadmill or whatever. Do you during like outside of the gym, are you moving around a lot? Is your job like, are you sitting a lot? Like how's your day to day?
Sure. Yeah, I mean that's another big thing for me. I do sit maybe more than I would like during my daily routine. I work from home. I'm in sales, so I'm usually sitting pretty comfortably. We do have standing desks, but my wife uses it in our studio.
Good man.
So I don't get to use it. Although I'd be standing a lot more. But I try and move. I have some small things like some small kettlebells and push-up things. So I try and a few times a day, because we listen to some podcasts and researches on this about just doing like some body squats.
Yeah.
For like a minute just to like move so you're not sitting the whole time.
For
but
sure.
Otherwise, if I wasn't coming in here, I mean, I play soccer a couple times a week, but other than that, I hate running. So
yeah.
When you say lifting weights is a great form of cardio, I love that, because
Yeah.
I like lifting heavy weights and that being a form of cardio than getting outside in this cold right now and running for like 15, 20 minutes.
Sure.
I hate it. So
I do not have the mind for running.
yeah. Well, if there's a ball involved and I'm putting it in a hoop or in a net, I'll run. But just running for running, that's not my favorite.
I got into it in like 2021 or something like that, and like I was like, I knew I wasn't good at it. It's not natural for me, so I was like, actively trying to get better at it. So I was very like kind of like self-aware, like kind of like trying to figure out how can I get better at this,
Yeah.
And one thing that I noticed, man, dude, my internal thoughts while I was running were everything was telling me to stop.
Right.
Like everything was like, okay, stop running, stop. No, okay, all right, cool, you're done. All right, this sucks. Stop, just stop. Like it was like literally like that.
Yeah.
And then like I kind of beat that voice, and then the next voice was like, all right, when you get to the red light, you'll stop. Right. Okay, when you get to this corner, everything was around stopping, and I'm like, dude, okay, I gotta end that. And once I figured out how to end that, I never became a big runner, but like I was running a couple miles.
Yeah.
But I don't know if you noticed, but I'm speaking in past tense.
Yeah.
I don't run anymore, but I would like to get back to it. Like there's something to the runner's high and things like that. It did feel good. But weightlifting is my jam for sure.
Yeah.
Now, do you feel like the weightlifting, because you mentioned you play soccer, do you feel like the weightlifting like translates into like like recreational sport league stuff?
Sure does. Yeah.
Do you feel like you got like better?
Yeah. I mean, I'm not always the biggest guy on the soccer pitch, but doing weight training and strengthening my core and my body overall helps me with soccer. I mean, just yesterday night I was playing at the fire pitch over here, and Most of the guys are usually bigger than me, but I play striker or midfield, so I have to hold off guys and keep the ball. That's my thing. And so doing weight training definitely helps. Once I started weightlifting to now, have felt stronger. I feel better about it. I may have put on a little bit of weight over the holidays, but also, sometimes I notice that my weight was here. But my wife bought this machine that gives you not only your weight, but your what your muscular index is as well.
Yeah.
So I might have been at the same weight, but it was because my muscles were bigger, and that's what was the weight versus fat or something else. So when you kind of see that, you see the actual progress you're making in the gym, and that's something I really enjoy.
Dude, finding a scale that gives that accurate reading is huge.
Yeah,
it's huge.
Definitely helps.
Yeah, because people get so caught up in the number on the scale, and I've been, in situations where I'm training the person, they are, it's obvious that they're getting stronger. It's obvious that they're healthier. I could see it, and then they get back on that scale and they're a pound heavier. And they're just so demoralized. They can't believe it. They hate, and now I really, especially they happen more often when I was less experienced. So I didn't know how to handle that, how to navigate that, how to prepare them for that, and things like that. I'll tell you a funny story. One time, you ever used the hand one?
Yeah.
That one's not very accurate.
No.
So I remember my first year, I lost maybe 3 clients because of that. Because the reading was all over the place.
Yeah.
And I didn't know that. Right?
Yeah.
So, I'm telling, we're seeing this body fat percentage be at, I don't know, whatever, let's say 12%. We do it literally the next week, it's at 16%. And there's just no way.
Yeah.
And then it's so I realized I gotta stay away from that.
Yeah.
So if it wasn't an accurate reading, I'm just don't get on it at all. And if you're worried about, in the scale, I highly recommend getting something like that. Something that gives you, we got the InBody that gives the body fat percentage, breaks down segmental muscle mass, and then gives you your last reading as well. Because that's the other part too, right? You can get on the scale, kind of get in your head, and then you might make up a story about what the number was previously. Yeah. You don't necessarily remember it. You think you do, but you don't. But this one, it records it and things like that, because that makes a huge difference. Yeah. We had one girl, I remember, she dropped 6% body. She gained 1 pound, but dropped 6% body fat.
Wow.
But I truly believe that if we didn't have that body fat reading, she would not have been happy.
Yeah, because you don't know the whole story of what's going on here.
What's actually going on.
And that's what that's what I noticed. I saw some results, but seeing that, it makes a big difference, because you understand that weight is now, it's moving from one thing that you have to something else. And it takes time too. You have to be consistent with it. Absolutely. You can't give up after. But I know that's a big thing that people will quit, but you just have to stick with it.
And I always tell people, I'm look, unless you are a professional fighter, wrestler, no one cares about your weight.
Yeah.
No one knows what you weigh. Yeah. Nobody cares. You know what I mean? It's just how you look and how you feel. The weight thing is just such a, a taboo topic.
Yeah.
That's man, I get it. Obviously, it does matter to a degree, but I feel more times than not, it kind of screws you up when you get stuck on that number. Yeah. But anyway, what as far as what you're doing now in your training, and I guess with it being a new year, do you got any kind of thing that you're striving towards this year, right, from the weight loss, or not weight loss, from the weight training standpoint?
Well, a little bit of weight loss is part of it for sure.
Okay.
I definitely put on a few during the holiday season, and my wife is Lebanese, so there's a lot of food.
A lot of food.
Holiday series. Yeah, it's very, very good, but there's a lot. So there's that. And I told you this before we were filming, that I had a procedure where I had something taken off my back, so I've been out for the last 6 weeks or so. So, weight training and being in the gym here is just a routine for me now. I've done it over enough period of time that even if I'm out for a good chunk, I know I'm gonna come back. I'll enjoy coming back. So really right now is just get back into that mind frame of get back in doing what I was doing and start building on what I was before. Because when you probably know this, but when you are off for so long, sometimes the gains that you were making or what you were able to do, they dip off a little bit. So unfortunately that happens, and sometimes you have health things where that needs to occur. So I was really, until that period, I was adding weight and kind of, so now I got to get back to that. So that's my biggest goal, is get back to progressing a little bit where I was before and get back into it.
Beautiful. Yeah, that's the thing, man. That's all like part of the journey, you know? Like, I don't care who you are. I mean, I guess there's exceptions to the rule, but I think but if you look at the whole lifespan of anybody, there's going to be fall off periods.
Yeah.
Like, it's just the way life goes. Like, injuries, vacations, job changes, whatever it might be, life
just
changes.
Rest from lifting
or you get tired.
Yeah, I'll like lift heavy for like this. What I did here is I would go 3-4 times a week here for a whole month, and I would take like a week off just to give my muscles a rest, and then I pick it back up again.
Yeah, and I feel like sometimes it's good for it to be planned, and like sometimes it's good to just be like intuitive with it.
Yeah,
like if your body's kind of telling you, you can feel it a little bit. I go through that kind of style where I'll rest, and then I can go through another type where like I'll lift, but I'll lift kind of light,
or lift light,
and I'll go easy on my body, or like I'll come in and do like 2 movements. Like I'll do like pull-ups and deadlifts, and then I won't kill myself on either one of them.
Yeah.
And then I'll do that maybe for a few weeks, and then I could start feeling again, or I'll start getting the itch again. Like, okay, I want to like start increasing my weight, start challenging myself harder, and you go through these cycles. But one thing for sure is like the more consistent you are over the long period of time, the easier the bounce back is.
Yeah.
And also sometimes, I mean, I've had instances too, man, where I've taken that week off or whatever, or like slowed down for a month, and then when I decide to turn it back on, I'm actually stronger.
Yeah.
It's crazy the way that works.
Gives your muscles time to actually grow and recover, and now you go back in, you're lifting even more heavier weight. You're like, whoa! Yeah. I don't know when I turned into Superman all of a sudden.
Yeah.
So.
I feel like it's like just like another false narrative, like with like just saying like the concepts of like, I don't know, failure because you missed a day or you had a bad week, you didn't show up.
Right,
it's like, oh man, now you're falling off. It's like, I feel like people that talk like that, it's like, I know that you don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
It's like a red flag.
100%.
Yeah, it's like, you don't work out.
I don't know. I actually, when I'm in here, I don't ever really try to go to failure. We were talking about this last time, but there was I was watching a Rogan podcast, and some guy was on there, and it's like, you should want to enjoy to be coming into the gym. Yeah. And sometimes if you go to failure and then you can't go the next day, then you're kind of like, oh, right, and then I don't know, it just messes with your mind of, oh, I didn't enjoy that, now I can't even do anything. My body feels like crap today. I can't. So I don't normally always go to failure when I'm doing my workouts. I do, the standard stuff, do 8 to 10 reps depending on your weight, or 10 to 12 depending on the movement, stuff like that. I'm not trying to go for what's the heaviest thing I can lift. Yeah. I lift comfortable. I increase incrementally over time. So I'm trying to build naturally that strength over time. So that's what I do, and I find like that's a really good process for me.
Yeah, no, for sure. I think like, you got to find your groove, because anything is good. Like any sort of work is good.
Right.
Like it's just you got to find your groove and see what you want, and it, ultimately I think the measure truly is, are you getting the result that you're striving for?
Right.
Right. And like there's levels to that in the sense, or layers to that in the sense of like, are you being realistic with the result that you want and the work you're putting in? Of course.
Right.
But like once you find that balance, you're all good.
Yeah.
For sure. And like, I'm this guy, I don't know if you ever heard of him, his name's Kendrick Ferris. He's kind of gotten a little bit, like I like him, but his brand has changed, we'll put it that way, without getting too deep into it. But he was an Olympian. He did this one podcast, man, this was years ago, and like changed my life. He was, he did Olympic lifts, so snatches, clean and jerks.
Yep.
And he talked about how he would not lift for a max lift. He would almost never do it until the day of the competition. Cause like it's like kind of like you know, I'm practicing and training for that moment.
Right.
And I mean, he talked about it extensively.
Yeah.
And this is right. That's literally one of the best people in the world at it.
Yeah.
And it was such an awesome perspective change. You know,
yeah.
Some of the stuff was like good because it was like kind of validation and things that I kind of felt were true, but like wasn't sure.
Yeah.
You know, and so definitely, you know, working out the failure isn't necessarily the point, but failing's a part of the workout process.
True. Yeah.
You gotta embrace failure.
Yeah.
You gotta embrace trying to wait and you don't get it.
Right.
That's okay. Like that's part of it.
Yeah.
You know, or whatever it is. But anyway, man, so glad that you came and did this. I'm also so glad that you're rocking that hat.
Heck yeah,
I don't know, that Victory Training hat is an exclusive right there.
Mm-hmm. Had to rep it.
Yes.
For this, for sure.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I love this gym. It's it's a 5-minute walk from my place here.
Perfect.
Damon and Roscoe. I mean, one of the reasons why I really love your gym and being here is you guys legitimately have a cool community. For everybody that comes here, it feels like a neighborhood gym, which it is, but
yeah,
that you feel that, and I love, you know, for a lot of other people who go to traditional gyms, you know, and you gotta wait for the machine, or you gotta drive over and all that stuff. I mean, that stuff definitely killed my vibe for wanting to go a lot of times, and you have to really for the quick access and then being able to like set the time you want to go and the flexibility on the app to change here and there if you need to, if like a work thing. I've had so many times a work thing comes up and I have to push a half hour or something, but then I know I'm still coming here, and then having the space to do what I need to do, and you have all the things that I like anyway, all the free weights. So it's been a perfect thing, and as long as I'm in this neighborhood, I will be at this gym for sure.
Music to my ears right there. I love to hear that, man. I appreciate it. I mean, for today, I guess that's it, guys. We're going to keep on trying to get more and more podcasts for you, have more and more cool members, maybe not quite as cool as Justin. We don't know. We're going to work on it and try. But don't forget to like and subscribe, and we will catch you next time.